Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
They throw the ball more than they have. They were big last year. They're big again. Their kids are physical. Coach Baird does a great job. They're sound in everything, offense, defensively, special teams. He continues to win. Those kids buy into that program and work hard for it. Always a good football team. And last year, actually, in our game, they threw the ball more than they had.
We've been in discussion with this since the end of last season. I mean, it would have been fine if it was done in September or July or June or whenever, but I have learned over time when numerous attorneys are involved, sometimes things don't move as quick as what they wish they could.
Objectively, when you look at the statistics, he's third in total QBR, he's third in total pass yards, he's fourth in passing TDs, and he's doing this without a doubt, not having a legit number one wide receiver. And his team is tied for the best record in the AFC.
Told the guys from the beginning, we're going to go to national, but in order to do that, we have to stay high in the ranking. No matter what happened, we got the second chance, so now we're in. That's what matters to us right now. I mean, I watched Eastern before. Good team, very physical, same as Tyler. They're going to do anything to win.
We work hard all year to try and make it to this stage. This is obviously the biggest stage where our student athletes can showcase themselves in front of other coaches. So it's good for us to get in. I know we're excited. We were just waiting for Tuesday to see what was going to happen, and obviously everything came out, and anybody at this stage of the season is going to be a difficult group.
I just think taking away the home field environment for those teams and those fans that get to the World Series is a disadvantage, and it removes some of the personality and flavor of what makes it great.
I think there's a distinct line of delineation between the Michigan allegations and then those allegations that emerged in the last 48 hours. And it's fairly simple. Multiple sources told me today that the Big Ten has not received word from the NCAA about any other sign-stealing investigation that the NCAA is looking into other than the Michigan one.
And welcome on into 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM for Thursday's edition of Sports Day. Aaron Clark, I'll be hosting it here, holding down the seat, sitting across from Mike Corson and Mike Hesher, the two Mikes, on a fine Thursday afternoon. Fellas, how we doing over there?
Getting ready for Football Friday.
I'm off Friday and Monday. How do you think I'm doing?
This is like a nice little Friday show. It's just like a normal Friday show for Hesh. I'm hosting. He's over there. You guys got plenty of room to explore the space on your own. And we've got another great episode of Sports Day coming up for you guys, as we'll be visiting with Great Bend Panther football coach Aaron Beck, as he'll reflect on the Panthers' 6-4 season and look ahead to what should be some very good days for the program moving forward, as well as having head Hoisington football coach Zach Baird in studio, along with senior quarterback Tony Moore in advance of Friday's sectional home playoff game with Southeast of Saline, a game that features two undefeated 10-0 teams. And then I'll wrap the show up by talking with Barton wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman. He'll be in the studio to talk about the Cougars opening meet last Saturday, as well as what the Cougars have coming up. And next on the mat, we'll also have a look at the Thursday sports headlines. But first, going to start with sounds of the past 24 hours. Would like to remind everyone that Sports Day is brought to you by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country, as well as by Marmy's Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Diving into our sounds of the past 24 hours, you got to hear from a head coach of Southeast of Saline, that's Mitch Gebhardt, talking about how he knows he's going to have to bring it against a talented Hoisington squad. Southeast of Saline, they were able to get the better of the Cardinals last year in the sectional round matchup, but Hoisington, they're a new squad, a more experienced squad now, got the offense rolling. Looking forward to seeing what the Cardinals can do against the Trojans from Melton Brown Field on Friday night.
Yeah, he'd have to refresh me of who won 2A last year, but it was not Southeast.
They got beat by Kingman.
Yeah, seeing that's great. Southeast was such a juggernaut last year that, of course, they beat everybody. It was hard to believe they didn't win a state title. This year, credit to them for coming back 10-0. We've seen Hoisington do that, where they'll lose a tremendous class and still come back as a powerhouse. This one, it's hard to pick just because of Southeast's defense, but as Tony's coming in, kid that can throw this year, and obviously Hoisington's always able to run the ball, always able to play defense. This one and the other West Side matchup in 2A was Ellsworth and whoever they got. Both two intriguing matchups and tough picks.
Going to be some very tough picks. Hesh, you've gotten the chance to see this Hoisington football in action. I think, well, definitely a little more than me. I think a little more than Mike Corson has as well. What have been your main takeaways that may separate this year's Cardinal squad from the team that lost to Southeast of Saline last year?
Well, I think like everybody said, Tony Moore being able to pass the ball. I mean, I don't have his numbers in front of me like Cole would have, but he throws the ball well. He talked about 2 great passes he threw last week. They're talking about the long one,
36 yards.
To Jason Robinson, but then Cole also said he threw a beautiful pass to the Martin young man. So, it's at that, and the offensive line, I think they're just so big and talented up front, and I think it was Nemaha Central that won 2A last year.
Yeah, because I think they're going to.
Yeah, because they're up there again, so they're huge, what I saw last year, but that's getting ahead of the game, obviously.
And then Ellsworth is Norton this week, so
Yes.
And that's another good team, but as with Smith Center and stuff gets beat, you don't know how strong that strength of schedule is. I got to see Ellsworth play Southeast of Saline, got to see Southeast shut down that Ellsworth team, so it's just a lot of, you just don't know.
And while Hoisington is big up front, everybody talks about Taryn Kraft, they are so fast. The Alderdice kid is just quick, and so is the Martin. They're just so fast that, they're not very big, but boy, they get outside, they're gone.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've seen the Robinson boys come up. Seems like, and no pun intended, there's a legendary Robinson kid about every year. I don't think I'd seen Jason in a little bit. Saw him at the Pratt game. I was like, now he's looking like a Robinson kid. Finally got some size. Gonna be fun to watch.
And Robinson was one. He was fun to watch on the basketball court last year for the Cardinals. You could see the athleticism there. Now, seeing some of that translate onto the football field, he's coming off a pretty nice week for the Cardinals. He was able to snag an interception in last week's 35-6 victory over Beloit. Nice little tune-up for the Cardinals. That was a close game at half, wasn't it? It was 7-6 at halftime?
7-6 at halftime, and Hoisington made some adjustments at halftime. I guess they didn't have a end-zone camera, so they were able to figure some things out over halftime and just dominated up front. It was 5 and 6 yards up the middle.
I think that's one of the more impressive, more daunting things about trying to stop this Hoisington Cardinal team may just be that they can make those kind of corrections. You think you have them stopped, think you got them figured out in the first half. They come out, hang an unanswered 28 points on your head. That's an explosive Cardinal offense.
On the flip side of that, Southeast at Ellsworth, it was 8-0 at the half. I think it ended up being 30-0. So both teams, because Gebhardt, you see him on the sideline, a little bit of rocket science going on over there. And obviously Coach Baird doing the same thing. So you not only have the skill on the field, but also some talent on the sidelines.
Well, we'll hear more about Hoisington football once we get Zach Baird and Tony Moore in studio. Be looking forward to that coming up in just a few minutes. Moving on in our sounds of the past 24 hours, you got to hear from a head coach of the KU Jayhawks, Bill Self. He makes it sound like the deal's been going on for a little while, at least the past couple months, definitely during the time that he was being investigated. Sure sounds like KU wasn't entirely worried about that whole investigation going down. They still like Bill Self.
Why would they be? And you heard the audio change from Coach Gebhardt to Coach Self as a gold phone. Solid gold phone.
I do not know what KU Athletics records some of their press conferences on, but it is not always the most reverberating quality that we can get. But
as I've heard the other day, name another coach besides Bill Self in the NCAA. I mean, he is the top one by himself. Can you name another top 3 or 4? I mean, I know their names up there, but he at this point is the top of it. With Krzyzewski retiring and all those others retiring, he is the man.
You might throw in Izzo, Michigan State.
He was number 2 in this poll, so you are correct.
I was going to say that was the main one that popped in my head, but is
Patino still around? And then
he is still around. I don't remember where it was Iona, but I think he's moved on from Iona.
Okay. He even got them, I think, to the tournament. Calipari, it's tough to tell because his kid's never. He knows he's getting NBA kids, so he'll never have a kid more than 1 year. But yeah, obviously, I was a big Self fan when he came over, more so than Roy Williams. But I kind of wish Roy had stuck around. I don't remember a whole lot of bad publicity around Roy Williams. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Other than him whining all the time when they lost.
That's fine.
Two types of bad publicity.
No investigations on whining.
Of course, and they all do it. Let's don't hone in on KU. They're all doing it.
No one wants to hear too much about Roy Williams anymore. It's all about the Bill Self era of KU now. A hefty contract for him. Going to make close to $11 million a year over the first 5 years. each year, kind of tacks on another one at the end. It's a lifetime contract for the head man of KU basketball. He'll have to have his squad ready as KU gets ready to host Manhattan tomorrow from Allen Fieldhouse. And in our station meeting this morning, we did have a question. That is not Kansas State. That is not the Wildcat. That is Manhattan High School. This is not Manhattan High School. It is Manhattan University from Manhattan, New York. I would wager the Jaspers. The Jaspers. And so it is not an early season Sunflower State showdown that we're not just hyping up. It is just Manhattan University, the Jaspers. Which, I'm surprised you didn't know they were the Jaspers, of course.
I was going to say, what is it?
That's your homework for tomorrow. You can come back and you can tell the whole world. We won't have Hesh here, so you can spend extra time talking about what a Jasper is tomorrow as we'll move along in our sounds of the past 24 hours. You got to hear from Louis Riddick. He says Patrick Mahomes, that's his MVP right now. I don't know. I think that might just be being kind of blinded. We've seen some pretty good quarterback performances over the year, and I just feel like the Mahomes, the Chiefs offense right now, not really operating at a level that you want to see from an MVP. The Chiefs defense has been huge for them this season. It's really been kind of pulling more than their own weight, has really led to a couple of victories on the year. I don't know. Mahomes is still a great quarterback. I don't know if he needs MVP this year through the 9 weeks, 10 weeks that we've been through so far.
Yeah, and we'll see what the Ravens do. And obviously Joe Burrow coming on strong now that he's allegedly healthy. But what about Jason Kelsey? You got it's a nature of the game. You're going to have third and fourth and short all the time. And then finally the Eagles, they're on TV a lot. You see how often he's at the bottom of thousands of pounds.
His head is
over
just
and
straight.
over.
He snaps the ball, and he doesn't even try to go. He just burrows.
So if that is a thing that nobody in the league can stop and you do it over and over again, at some point you got to give somebody credit, and it sounds like he's kind of the guy.
Who would have thought that Mike Corson would be the one advocating for an NFL offensive lineman to win the MVP before me?
Never mind. The quarterback can squat like 600 pounds. It's all him.
We can still give some credit to the overall Eagles offensive line, but excited to see more from the NFL season. Not much of a great matchup coming up tonight, but we can talk more about that a little bit later. It's Bears-Panthers on prime time tonight, a matchup with more implications for the 2024 NFL Draft and the NFL 2023 postseason.
Frees up the schedule to do some other things.
And we'll move on as we got to hear from the head coach of the Barton women's soccer team, Osi Kamara. He's talking about how this has been the plan since last year even. He told the girls in the offseason they're going to go back to the national tournament. That's exactly where he has them after some hard work from the Lady Cougars. They'll be facing off against Eastern Florida coming up on Sunday.
And last year they went to nationals, really close game. Jayhawks been tough all year, so the fact that you escape with 2 losses, anything's possible. But like he said, once you get to this level, I'm guessing, probably not even a team with 5 losses. It would be hard to say if some of those regions are weak or not, but 2 losses, they're just as good as about anybody.
And we also heard from the head coach of the Barton men, Raph Simmons. As Coach Simmons, he's not going to be looking past anyone this season. He knows it's the postseason now. Going to have to be sharp if they want to continue to win and advance.
Yeah, kind of same difference. You got the 2 losses, a lot of ties on the men's side, but if you look at a soccer game, how many things can go right or wrong? And you're probably going to look at a 2-0 game tops. There's a lot of play there that either side can win.
Then we got to hear from Michelle Smallman. She's not keen on the idea of the MLB moving towards a neutral site for the World Series. Feels like that might take a little bit away from the grandeur of the spectacle. Of course, then you already got some thoughtful looks on your face over there. What do you think about moving the World Series?
No, I haven't heard it. So is that all 7 games at one site?
Yes, I believe it was. Bad idea. Baseball fan here, bad idea.
I feel like one of the big draws of baseball is being able to get out to the different stadiums, get to experience all of the different ballpark atmospheres. And when you take that away from the Fall Classic, I don't know, it would be kind of odd to only have it at one spot. It would eliminate some of the travel, but take away from some of the grandeur that makes the Fall Classic so special.
And presumably they would pick an indoor place, which takes away October, which would be ridiculous. And then I like the fact that you have, the 2-3-2 series. So when you get into that Game 6, Game 7 series, you might not want to go back to the other place. To stick that in a neutral spot, I know a lot of splits in the World Series and the Super Bowl are corporate, but I was at both KC playoff games, like I think the ALCS. Unbelievable atmosphere. those were diehard Royals fans waving towels in their coats, and to take that away to put it in for what, to make a little bit more money, I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't imagine the World Series and stuff not being in Kansas City in 2015. That just is, I can't understand that at all.
Yeah, imagine if you had to wait 30 years or what Texas just did, and then you're going to take that away from your fan base.
And just, I don't know, I don't like the idea of moving it either, but we'll have to keep an eye on that situation. Rounding out sounds of the past 24 hours, you got to hear from Pete Thamel, ESPN's college football insider, talking about some of the controversies surrounding Michigan. A lot going on there with that signs thing. Now there's some back and forth crossfire. Michigan saying other Big Ten teams were stealing their signs as well. A couple of people worried about if the Big Ten does bring down some big disciplinary action, could set a dangerous precedent moving forward for the conference. But I don't know. It's a messy situation that seems to just keep getting murkier and murkier before it gets any clearer.
And I haven't been following. I watch my game day on Saturday. That's where I get my football news.
Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap up our sounds of the past 24 hours. We'll go ahead and send it to our first break, but coming up next, I'll sit down with the head coach of the Great Bend High Panthers. It's Aaron Beck, only right here on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Community. Hi, I'm Zach Stride, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Get started with a career in healthcare through Barton Community College's Pharmacy Technician program. Gain the skills you need to assist pharmacists with the day-to-day demands of a pharmacy. Classes are 100% online and include real-world experiences at a pharmacy near you. Join this essential field in as little as 2 semesters with the flexibility of online classes. Now enrolling. Learn more at pharmtech.bartonccc.edu.
Love your phone but tired of your current provider? Bring your device to Next Tech Wireless and experience wireless built by Kansans for Kansans. For a limited time, get 4 lines with unlimited data for $100. Have questions? Call or text our local customer care team at 877-621-2600. Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
It's Panther football time on Sports Day as we present Great Bend football coach Aaron Beck. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And welcome on back into 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Aaron Clark here with Sports Day, sitting down with the head coach of the Great Bend High Panthers. It's Aaron Beck. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me in and kind of having a little wrap-up of our season here.
Excited to talk about what was really a great season. Honored to get to broadcast it for the first time around. A lot to talk about. I think we can start at the beginning of the season because I'd like to talk about some of the growth we saw from all your players over the year. But beginning of the year, you go against McPherson. It's a team that had kind of given Great Bend some troubles over the past couple of years. Got a win, started early. What were your just impressions from that first win, that early kind of summer team that you saw in Great Bend?
Yeah, that was one that we had kind of talked about all summer long, really wanting to start the season off right and beat McPherson. They had our numbers for the last several years. So it was nice to kind of see our kids come out in that one and in front of our home crowd and win that thing because we had a lot of, uncertainties on both sides of the ball, but really offensively, just really young in our quarterback position and thought Dax really played well that week 1 and really carried it into week 2 as well when we went up to Hayes. But it was nice to start off the season with that win versus Mac.
And so obviously then you did run into some stiff competition against Hayes and Buhler in back-to-back weeks, 2 losses for the Panthers, but a young team, you bounced back very nicely. What kind of resilience did you see from that team during that little bit of a downtick early in the year?
Well, a lot of times you hope to see a lot of growth from week 1 to week 2. We saw it week 3 to week 4, and that's just kind of the way it was, and it honestly kind of hurt us a little bit in our playoff standing, getting a couple losses early, but our kids grew tremendously we talk about it a lot, in our pregame stuff, but up front really felt like we grew up a ton on the offensive line and defensive line too, just having some new guys in there and getting some guys back off injury. But up front, I thought our team really grew up by the time we hit Southeast in week 4.
Talking about your trench play, the return of Aiden Davidson really seemed key both on your offensive line and defensive line. Gave you a bit of some depth on both sides. You had a guy you could rotate in with a little more freedom. Talk about what you saw from the trench play just as the season went on. Got a lot better from my perspective in the press box.
Yeah, getting Aiden back was huge. He just plays with such a high motor, never takes a play off, and is always around the football. And thought he played exceptionally well in our playoff game just last week, and he kind of just provided that little spark we needed offensively up front. Once we kind of got him in there and we were able to move Tatum over to center, and then obviously having MJ Kern, and really thought they grew up. And then Owen Kaiser was just one of those kids that I told him after the playoff game how much he improved throughout the season, or from where he was last year as a sophomore to where he was this year as a junior. Really developed into a football player, and looking forward to having him and 4 other of those guys back next year.
And so moving along in the course of the season, you guys had a very nice homecoming against Wichita Southeast, held them scoreless, put up your most points on the year. What did that boon do for your team? Kind of helped set the tone for the rest of the offense going forward.
Yeah, I thought it just kind of let our kids settle in a little bit and just play football and not worry so much about the opponent but themselves. And I thought once we kind of did that, good things happened, and definitely offensively and defensively. Getting back-to-back shutouts with them and Dodge at home was pretty fun to see, and our kids kind of started playing with quite a bit of confidence on the defensive side of the ball. I thought that really propelled us into later in the season with Garden and Central, and even last week.
And so getting into your down the stretch of the season there where we were rolling 3 wins in a row before that tough game against Capon. What did you see late in the season that was really the difference maker that kind of showed to you that your team had kind of went over the edge and made some long strides from the beginning of the year?
Being able to run the football offensively was a huge advantage to us, and didn't run it great against Capon, but they were pretty good up front with them loading the box. But I thought that was a big step that we took from where we were versus Hayes and Bueller. We weren't able to run it, and that really hurt. And so being able to be a little bit more versatile, and I think I just looked at the stats. I think we averaged like 158 passing, 158 running on the year. So it was pretty balanced attack offensively, and then defensively. I thought we relied heavily on them all year long. They were kind of the momentum getter each and every week. They would provide some kind of play that our team just fed off of, and I really felt like our offense fed off our defense, and we just needed a few more of those plays on Friday, and we'd be talking about a completely different thing right now if that was the case.
And so taking a deep dive into that Capon game, trying to stop their dominant running back, not a small task for anyone this year. Great Ben did an admirable job limiting his explosive plays, still couldn't quite keep him from churning away at the short runs. What was your impression from watching that Capon offense and the impression from your defense trying to stop it?
Well, he's really good. His center of gravity was pretty impressive. He got low. I mean, our defense, even talking to some of our guys, like they were trying to get low, and he just would get lower each and every time, each and every run, and pretty punishing running back. And I don't know, it was just tough. It was one of those games where we just felt like we got him into some situations where we thought we had a chance to get a stop, and you know where the ball was going. You knew what they were running, and it was tough for us to stop it.
And so some struggles stopping the run game in those crucial moments. The pass defense, though, looking very good against a senior quarterback. Got some young pups back there playing in your secondary, but they looked good throughout the season.
Yeah, I thought our pass defense was real good. I mean, if you look at the yardage all year long, it was pretty impressive. But we play a lot of flex bone, wing T type of teams that don't throw it a ton, so that sometimes skews that stuff. But overall, I thought they did a really nice job back there, like you said, with having some young guys. With Ian doesn't really feel like a sophomore, but he's only played 2 years of high school football, and him and Cooper back there did a really nice job at the safety spots, and then you sprinkle in some seniors with Caden Hoffman and Maddox Spray. I thought those guys did a really nice job for us in the secondary.
Panthers secondary and defense as a total very impressive this year. Flipping over to the offensive side of the ball in that Capon game, Daxton Mitten responsible for over 100 rushing yards, 200 passing yards. What was the kind of game? Did you expect that from Mitten in his first big action in the postseason, or what were you expecting from the sophomore quarterback?
Well, he's shown the capability in some of our bigger type of games to play some lights out football, and we needed him to have that type of game, and he did. He answered the call and got the ball out early and often because they were bringing a lot more than we could protect, and they stayed dead man early that whole first half. They continued to try to guard us man, and Dax and those receivers made him pay, and kind of had to switch some things up against us at halftime, and that's just football at its finest, and it was a battle, and play here, play there, and this thing's a different story.
All right, and Coach, before we turn the page and start looking a little bit at next season, not a lot of seniors on this team, but some very quality leaders, very quality players. What are you going to miss the most from this group of seniors this year?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it today a little bit, and there's 7 of those guys that really made huge impacts on this program for the last couple of years, and some of them have been starting since they were sophomores. You know, you look at Colton and MJ and Cody Miller; those 3 started as sophomores, and then obviously you sprinkle in some of those other guys that have provided a ton of experience for us with Cooper and Caden in the secondary. Those guys have done an outstanding job over there, and MJ up front is just going to be missed tremendously on both sides of the ball. He's kind of the glue that holds both offensive and defense together. So replacing a guy like that will be impossible. But he's taught these young guys a lot. He's taught all these kids a lot on how to prepare and just how to practice and that kind of thing. And Dion's the same way. Just plays with such great motor. And Cody, I think I just looked it up. He actually passed his brother for career rushing yards, and that's you played alongside his brother and know how much of a feat that is. So he's obviously going to be missed toting the rock back there for us.
So going to be plenty of roles to fill for Great Bend football next year, but can't feel too bad about the crop of players you have to do it. Who are some players that maybe we didn't see a whole lot of this year that you expect may fill roles or new roles next year?
Well, you always look for those type of kids that emerge onto the scene like a Caden Hoffman did. You know, who's going to be that next type of player? Even the Cooper Lyles. You know, those guys both. They didn't get a lot of playing time up until their junior year, and that happens. That's high school football, and I'd love to see some guys step up there. You know, there's a young man that has done a great job on JV for us, and Hayden Kelly, who is going to have to play a little bit in our secondary, and I'm excited for the summer. He had kind of a tough break on an injury in a JV game and missed the last 4 weeks, but he's one that we're excited about, and we're going to have to find another guy to step in there at receiver in that H spot after losing Colton. So figuring out offensively, what are we going to do? Are we going to, use more of a 2-back set? Are we going to go, with Cooper Omon is so dynamic in so many different ways, we'll be able to, probably move him around a little bit and try to get him more touches. Kale's another kid that will have to help us more offensively. And then you obviously got Ian and Jake as your big targets on the edge. So Dax is going to have some nice weapons returning, and then only losing one senior offensive lineman. That's nice to bring back 4 of the 5. So there'll be some good things. We'll have to find another backer to stick his nose in there with Trent. Maybe his little brother can do it. We'll see, and then fill in those spots in the secondary.
All right, so Coach, one final time this year, what are your final thoughts on the Great Bend High Panther football season as a whole?
Well, you always want one more. That's the thing. I always tell kids, and it definitely felt that way this year. But I was extremely proud of this group. I thought every time we played, it was just very evident that our kids played harder than their opponent each and every week, and that's what you love, and that's what you pride your program on and pride this community on, and these kids, and that's just such an attribute to them and all the work they put in, and we'll be back.
That is head coach of the Great Bend High Panthers, Aaron Beck. Coach Beck, thanks for everything this season.
Yep, thanks, Aaron.
We'll have more Sports Day coming up right after this as the Hoisington Cardinals will be joining me in studio. Stick around at Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Become our next instant finalist today in the Shop at Home for the Holidays $10,000 shopping spree presented by Bauer Computers and Mater Plumbing, Heating, Air, your Bryant dealer. Today, we're at Boone's Maytag, 10th and Jackson in Great Bend. That's Boone's Maytag at 10th and Jackson in Great Bend. You don't have to wait for Black Friday to find great deals at Boone's because their Black Friday deals start now. Washer and dryer pairs starting at $999.99. Refrigerators starting at $799, dishwashers starting at $499, ranges starting at $799, and 0% financing for 12 months now through November 30th. Hurry in for the best selection. You have until 5 o'clock today to get signed up. Become our next instant finalist in the Shop at Home for the Holidays $10,000 shopping spree presented by Bauer Computers, Mater Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your Bryant dealer, and Eagle Radio and Whole Broadcasting. Good luck.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And welcome back to 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM for Sports Day. Remind everyone that Sports Day is brought to you in part by Advanced Therapy and Sports Medicine. Get your life back, as well as by Equity Bank. We're right here beside you, equitybank.com. Aaron Clark filling in for Steve Webster this afternoon. Joined in studio now by Pack of Cardinals as we have a head coach of the Hoisington football, Zach Baird, joined by senior quarterback Tony Moore. Fellas, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Got a big game coming up this week against Southeast of Saline, but first, going to start with your game against Beloit. A bit of a slow start for you guys, a close game at halftime, 7-6. Coach, what was the story of that first half, and what did you change at halftime to kind of take control of that ball game?
Well, I thought early we were just a little tight. I didn't think we played real loose, and so once the nerves finally got subsided a little bit, I thought we kind of settled in and played well. But give Beloit credit; they had a good game plan coming in. They executed it really well right off the bat. They got some pieces back, and we knew that coming in that was going to make them a little bit tougher. And what it did was it made them a whole lot more balanced than what we thought they might be. But it's this point of the year you're going to play good teams, and we just didn't execute early on. But at halftime we really didn't make any crazy adjustments. I think our guys just settled in a little bit, and that was kind of the message at half was, what we were doing was fine. We just needed to execute it, and I thought our guys executed much better in the second half.
And so, Tony, what were you seeing in the first half, and maybe what clicked, changed a little bit there in half two?
I think our offensive line kind of was just struggling a little bit at the beginning of the game. They got really big dudes. They're blessed with a big gene pool down there or something. But other than that, we just couldn't really get north and south going much at all. So other than that, passing was there. We just couldn't get the ball off.
When the run game isn't working for you as much as you'd like it to, as the quarterback, the leader of that team, unfairly or not on the field, what is going through your head trying to get the team going, trying to keep spirits up, especially in a postseason game?
I'm like, guys, most of us are senior, all 6 of us are out there. Like, guys, this is our last year. We got to go. This is our last time. This could be our last time right now. So
not much better motivator than either win or go
kind
home.
Of guilt tripping, I guess.
Yeah, right. Guys, you can't underperform. You got to make them feel bad if they're not showing out. But
I guess
get some leadership going on field.
They know what I mean. They're all right.
Well, you've been playing together with some of these guys how long now?
Oh yeah, it's been forever, and I've been doing blocking for them, running for them, passing for them.
I actually got a loyal Hoisington Cardinal fan sent me a picture of you back in the day in was it WKFL when you were playing?
That was PKFL.
PKFL, okay.
Yep.
Sent me a picture, so it was. I saw the former O-line Tony Moore.
5'7".
Yeah, looking like an offensive lineman though. You were a good puller, huh?
Oh yeah, I think in 6th grade, I was 186 pounds.
That was almost a my size kind of 6th grade.
I weigh 190 right now.
So. Well, there you go, 4 pounds since 6th grade. It's
yeah, buddy.
Not too bad of a weight gain. Now, pivoting towards the upcoming matchup, probably going to be a little bit of a step up in competition. Obviously, they come in with a 10-0 record. Coach, what are your first impressions of this Southeast of Saline squad?
Obviously, a good football team. They can do a little bit of everything offensively. They're good up front. They've got good weapons, and scheme-wise, they try to attack you all over the place. So offensively, really tough, and then defensively, I think obviously really good there as well. But I think the D-line probably jumps out at you the most. They're so aggressive, and they play with such good pad level, and they're quick, and they just create a lot of chaos defensively. And I think that all starts with the D-line.
And is Josiah Monday? Is he a defensive lineman for them?
Yeah, I'm not great with names here with them yet. I think that's number 50.
Number 50, yes.
Okay, yes, number 50 is one of their DNs, and he is really good. He would be the guy I think that probably gets the D-line going the most. I think he creates the most chaos, and he's just he's a tough player. And last year he played against us. He was a nose. Now he's a D-end. He makes it tough on you.
So Tony, talking about Monday. Comes in with some pretty impressive statistical numbers, racking up 11 TFLs with 9 sacks on the year. That kind of pass rusher, how do you plan to maybe try to negate that ability to rush you in the pass game?
I'm going to be pretty good at my pocket presence and know when to step up and when to get out of the pocket pretty much. And if I have to get rid of it, I got to do it pretty quickly because they're fast up front as well as being big. So,
We saw you last week be able to make some pretty nice passes, and just over the course of this season, your throwing has really stuck out in this offense. How do you keep that going? People are going to be keying in on it a little more than they have in years past. What do you use to stay ahead of defenses?
Well, I've never really saw myself as a quarterback as much as of a running back. Last year, I didn't pass as much as we do this year, but, I had, I don't know how many yards, but it was way more than passing yards. So I think my feet are still pretty good asset in my game that I have.
And obviously, Coach, talking about that running game, having a back there like Taryn Kraft, he makes it kind of nice to have a back you can rely on, a powerful runner. What does Kraft bring to your offense, especially as it relates in the postseason?
I think Taryn's extremely important for us. I mean, that's something we've got to establish, and if we can get a little bit of identity back there as far as going north and south, it just makes us feel a whole lot more comfortable with what we're trying to do, because so much of what we do offensively is based with that aspect. So to have a guy that's a 190-pound kid that is just tough-minded, and I think he kind of relishes in the fact that he's going to pick up tough yards. And, I just think that mindset, that mentality is what we need offensively. And if we don't get it, then we got to look elsewhere and do different things. But it just makes it so much easier offensively if we can get north and south.
And so talking about how he runs toughly, it kind of takes a toll on the defense. Is that something that Hoisington tries to pride themselves on, is being able to kind of break the will, break the spirits of the opponent with the run game as the game goes on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tony's had a great year for us and can do a whole lot of things for us. But I think it's still, that's going to be our identity, is we are going to run the football and we're going to get north and south. And obviously Tony's a big part of the run game as well. But, I think, for the last 10 years, it's the identity's been that we're going to have a B-back that is going to be able to get north and south. And even if it's not executed great, or if you stunt the right way and get lucky, we're still going to fall forward, and we're going to live with, 3-4 yards. And if we can do that, then good things happen.
And so a rematch of last year's sectional matchup for you. Obviously, a very different team coming back for Southeast of Saline. They lost those Gebhardt brothers. What are you expecting to see in this sectional round matchup against Southeast of Saline?
Well, you look at them on film, and they've got really good team speed still, really well coached. They play the game the right way. They're physical across the board. I think offensively that's one of their big things is they're physical out on the perimeter. And we've got to get off blocks, and we've got to make it hard for them to get to the perimeter. I think last year we gave them that way too easily, and then they definitely took advantage. But it's a good football team, and this time of the year and this deep in the playoffs, you're going to see good football teams, and that's what makes it fun.
All right, now Tony, it's a team that ended your season last year. Earlier in the show, we were talking about kind of guilt tripping your senior teammates into playing a little better. What does this matchup mean for you? You get another shot at Southeast of Saline, same round, same team. What's your thoughts going in?
It just brings me back to last year when we had to say goodbye to our seniors that we had then, and those were some of my best friends. I've been growing up with them ever since we've been playing baseball at 8 or 9 years old. So, it's going to be a big game for me, but not just like us as a team, but as those kids that played last year. They're going to be there for sure. They wouldn't miss it for the world. So we know that there's going to be a lot of alumni to be there. They're going to support us.
And now, originally, we were supposed to have another Cardinal joining us in studio, Caden Hoffman, but apparently he's not only a talented athlete, but a talented mathlete as well.
Yeah, I don't know much about mathletes or how any of that works. I would imagine, though, he's probably the biggest mathlete, biggest competitor there today. So hopefully that pencil's going and Hoff's doing work wherever he's at.
I'd wager he can probably add quickest using increments of 45, from the bench into the squat rack, putting 45-pound plates on there. But Coach Baird, what are going to be your final thoughts now heading into Week 11 against Southeast of Saline?
I think for us, we just need to enjoy it. I think in athletics and in competition, when things get hard, that's what really makes it fun. And I think real competitors want that. And obviously, you get this time of year, like it's going to be hard, and it should be, and that's what makes it great. That's what makes it fun. And there's not many teams still playing, so relish the fact that we're one of them, and just enjoy the fact that you've made it to this point, and it's time to cut it loose and just compete and have fun with it.
That is head coach of the Hoisington Cardinals, Zach Baird, along with senior quarterback Tony Moore. Fellas, thanks for joining me today, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
And we'll have more Sports Day coming up right after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
Hi, my name is Dalton Jones, a patient that I helped. She came in with chronic back pain that she'd been having for years. After several weeks of showing her exercises, several different interventions, we were able to get her back to where she can do her shopping without leaning on the shopping cart at all.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Extend the life of your equipment with Cenex Premium Greases. Engineered with quality base oils and well-balanced formulas to protect equipment in a wide range of temperatures and tough conditions. The Cenex line of grease products offer excellent rust protection, water resistance, and anti-wear properties to extend equipment life. Cenex Grease delivers the dependability you need to keep your operation running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Now, in its second decade. It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
And welcome on back into Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Aaron Clark now for our final segment, saving the best for last. It's head coach of the Barton Wrestling Program, Mr. Nathan Brockelman. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate you being in. Excited to talk to you about some wrestling. I got an early look of Barton Wrestling at their preseason duel when they were doing some inter-squad wrestling. Now, coming off of your first intercollegiate matchups, had a trio of wrestlers who you were able to get in the top 4. What did you see just in your first live matchup?
You know, I was definitely pleasantly surprised. You know, you didn't really know what to expect going into the first meet of the year. You know, we're heavily freshman loaded this year with only 4 sophomores. So you just don't really know how those freshmen are going to, you know, perform at their first official college meet. But very proud of those guys. You know, Avery Wolf taking 4th. I know last year he battled all year and never really had quite the successful start that he had. So it was nice seeing him get on the podium. And another sophomore, Koensuke from Baser, was able to battle in, take 4th as well. And, you know, freshman Dorian Hippen from Hutchinson, unfortunately he drew the bracket champion first round. That's kind of how the open tournaments work. You just kind of all get thrown on a bracket and hope for the best. And, you know, his first match was rough, but he came back and was able to take 4th as well.
And so was hoping to hit on this when I got to talk to you. Avery Wolf, you mentioned he got 4th at this matchup, or at this last meet. You got to coach him when he was in high school. Now get to coach young Mr. Wolf again. What has been your biggest maybe impression of the growth? You didn't get to see him last year when he was in his first year at Barton necessarily, but what stands out to you most about Avery this year?
You know, looking back from when he was in high school to now, you know, he's not putting himself in as bad of positions as he would necessarily. He's not as lazy with his hips. You know, he's a lot more physical. The intercollegiate wrestling is obviously way more physical, and you can get away with a lot more as far as physicality goes at the college level. And that's definitely one thing I've noticed is he's not backing down, and he's getting right in there and getting physical with the guys. Where, you know, sometimes in high school maybe he'd shy away from some of that stuff. But no, he's drastically improving, and looking forward to having him have a good year this year.
All right, so looking at the rest of your squad just as a whole, can you give me a brief lineup of your wrestlers and what they maybe bring to the table in terms of their strengths on the mat?
Yeah, so 133, we got Avery, and we got Easton Radesky from Hoisington. Easton's very quick, and he's adjusting. Needs to get a little more physical, but he's doing a good job of adjusting. We got three guys at 141. Stephen Baldwin, he's banged up a little bit right now, so he's been sitting. But right now, filling in for him is Jarrett Mater. He's from Ellis, and he's nice, tall, lanky, kind of that awkward length where he can get a lot of things done just with the leverage that he can take in with some of that tallness.
Almost has like a basketball player's build on him on the wrestling mat.
Yeah, I don't know how tall he is, but he's probably a head taller than me, so he's got to be 6'1", 6'2". I mean, he's a tall kid and farm kid, so you know he doesn't back down from a lot either. And right there with him is Matt Cook from Ellenwood. And then we move up to 149. We got Koensuke, who took 4th for us from Baser. He's a sophomore. Caden Blake's Junction City boy. He's in there. Him and Cohen battling it all the time. They're very tight in their matches. Both pretty physical. 157. We have Ethan Bowles from Eureka and Derek Yacht from Hoisington. And again, those two are battling it out. They're pretty tight match. I think their scrimmage match was a 2-1. You know, they're wrestling kind of similar guys in the opens, and they're pretty much same scores. So it'll be interesting to kind of see who ends up kind of being our starter there.
I got to see or follow Derek Yacht at last year's Kansas State wrestling tournament. Had a very nice showing for the Hoisington Cardinals. What have you seen from young Mr. Yacht so far this year?
You know, he's doing a great job. He's battling a little bit of almost like a turf toe. It kind of sounds weird, but that's kind of basically what happened to him. His toe kind of got stuck in the mat in a practice, so he's kind of battling that. But I know, you know, but he doesn't complain about it either. I mean, he's just a hard worker, and he's got big goals, and you know, looking forward to see where he's going to be once he gets all healed up.
Didn't mean to interrupt you there. I believe you're at your 174-pound weight class. Who have you got as we start to tick towards that little bit of the heavier weights on the mat?
Yeah, so back up 1 to 165, we have Caden Foster from Cedric, wrestled for Halstead. They were a co-op last year, and C.J. Newman. C.J. Newman is a little banged up right now from our scrimmage too, but he is a under 23 Greco All-American from back in 2021. He took a year off, and we were able to get him for his sophomore year here at Barton. So, looking for big things for both those guys. And again, it was a pretty tight match. So Caden's got a lot of improvement, and he's doing well as well. Caden, I believe, was one match away from placing there at Baker for us. I think Mater and our 74-pounder Keenan Gonzalez Brown, he was one match from placing as well. He's from Hutchinson as well. His biggest issue, honestly, right now is sometimes he just puts himself in some bad positions. He was winning big on a couple matches and let the guys get in there just getting out of position, and that's just things that he's adjusting and we're working through. And eventually at 184, we will have Edgar Duarte Juarez. He is our lone out-of-state participant. He's from New Mexico, Chaparral, New Mexico. Great kid. Love his work ethic. He just got to get down to weight, and hopefully that'll be here right after Thanksgiving for him. We also have Tamari Howard that comes in and rolls around with our big guys from Hoisington. He hasn't competed yet. Not sure if he's going to compete, but he definitely comes in and gets our big guys another look at least. Then at 197, we got Dorian Hippen. He's a Hutchinson boy as well. He was our other fourth-place finisher. He's got a lot of potential ahead of him. He kind of started in the game late. Was a blood rounder last year in the 5A state tournament. So looking for big things from him. And again, him and Edgar, they're always in there working extra. A lot of those guys working extra, not just those two. I leave the room open a lot of times for them to come back after supper, and usually half of them are in there trying to make themselves better. And the last guy we got is Big Nate, is what we call him, Nathan Guzziato. He is also a Junction City boy, and he's the same situation as Dorian. He's only been wrestling for 2 years, but he definitely passes the look test if you see him out there on the mat. He's very well put together for a 250-pound young man, and he's just only going to get better as we go on.
And so you talk about having some young wrestlers on the mat. What does getting that experience, how does that help increase their confidence, increase their ability going forward at the collegiate level?
Honestly, the biggest thing with some of those young guys is, they've never really wrestled year-round, and just the improvements they made from when we got to campus in September to now has already been, they've already seen drastic improvement on themselves. So, the biggest change for them is just wanting to keep learning, keep working hard, and asking questions, putting in some one-on-one sessions that we have set up on the campus, and just wanting it more than just still having that love for the sport, not just doing it to do it.
And so coming up, getting ready to make the trip up to Iowa, I believe it is. What are you expecting to see there as you hit the road, get to see your fellas take a state travel long trip, then hit the mat after that long road trip?
Yeah, so we do got a pretty long road trip. We're leaving tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. To Grimes, Iowa, going up to the Grandview Open. It's probably arguably one of the toughest opens in the nation, as far as the smaller schools, not the big Division ones, but there'll be some D1 guys there. Fortunately, they do have a freshman-sophomore division, so we'll at least be only wrestling freshmen-sophomores for all our young guys.
And that's different than this last meet you were at, because a couple of those fellas that got fourth or placed in the top four ended up losing in the final round to four of your competitors. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. The last open was we wrestled seniors in college, or, at this point in time, there could be a fifth or sixth-year senior still, with the COVID year. Not really sure if there's any of those there, but yes, so kind of fortunate we get to match up with some younger guys too that are kind of in the same situation as we are. This one in Grandview, and then the next week at Kearney, they both have that same division, and Kearney's just as tough. And we're just looking forward to just improvement, continue to just wrestle their best, and if they lose their first round match, there could be a chance their bracket's big enough that they could go 5-1 on the day and not even make the medal stand.
Going to be a big meet for the Barton Cougar wrestling team. That is head coach of the Barton wrestling squad, Nathan Brockleman. Now, Coach, do you ever have any big 300-pound, just excellent at math wrestlers while you were still coaching at the high school? You ever have any plus-sized mathletes like they got over in Caden Hoffman at Hoisington?
Well, I think if I remember right, I had one kid when I first got here who was probably about that size, and he chose not to. He went out for basketball instead. I don't know if you remember who that guy was.
I don't know. That was crazy. It couldn't have been the left tackle at the time. I don't remember him being that good at math though. But appreciate you coming in to talk to me, Coach, and good luck in Iowa.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
That is the head coach of the Barton wrestling team, Nathan Brockleman. Stick around as we'll wrap up Sports Day coming up right after this.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of the
absolutely.
As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with
That was the first
so
thought
I'd
that
like
popped
to
in my
invite you to stop by one of
Yeah,
our Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Get started with a career in healthcare through Barton Community College's Pharmacy Technician program. Gain the skills you need to assist pharmacists with the day-to-day demands of a pharmacy. Classes are 100% online and include real-world experiences at a pharmacy near you. Join this essential field in as little as 2 semesters with the flexibility of online classes. Now enrolling. Learn more at farmtech.bartoncccc.edu.
Brother Jasper.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Had a great show. We got to hear from head coach of the Great Bend High football Panthers, Aaron Beck, along with Hoisington Cardinal head coach Zach Baird and senior quarterback Tony Moore. Then we wrapped it up with head Barton wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman. And now, get a little update from the beginning of the show. Mike Corson, what is a Jasper?
I think maybe they just heard a little bit of that, but so it's not a friar, but it's almost looks like a pilgrim. So it's an individual, large bushy brown eyebrows. He's got kind of like a collar with a little white curtain necktie thing. It's very large. So he's almost like an Ichabod, maybe it looks like an old-timey attorney.
Okay, so it's an old kind of stuffy sounding guy. Sounds exactly like an Ichabod.
And I believe it's based off of Brother Jasper. So they're the Jaspers. So my bet is that Baby J, not even full-size J, Baby J could take Brother Jasper. Baby J's the half-size little Jayhawk.
Oh, okay, my bad.
We don't even send the varsity Jayhawk out to
We don't even need the full Jayhawk out there to take on the Jasper, is what you're saying. I'm sure that's what the KU faithful will be hoping with the product on the field, too. Hoping to not stub their toe, as KU three-point shooting was looking a little suspect in their exhibition games, but definitely shaped up a little bit against North Carolina Central. We'll have the latest update on KU basketball tomorrow, and I guess they don't play until tomorrow night, so we'll be previewing that game a little more tomorrow, as well as a look at all the other collegiate basketball going on and a look at high school football in the area. Plenty of sports still going on in the area at this time of year. Gonna have another great show of Sports Day for you tomorrow. Steve Webster will be back. We'll have Connor Nickel on talking about high school football with some other guests as well. Gonna be another great day. You fellas gonna be back tomorrow? Hesh, I know you won't, but Corson, you at least still going to be here?
Absolutely.
And we'll have another great day of Sports Day for you, only right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.